Hi there, lovely, and welcome to Let's Chat. I'm Rhonda Crimes, and I'm a certified life and leadership coach and trainer for everyday women just like you who are tired of being people-pleasing good girls, or who I prefer to call super givers. I'm here to do all I can to guide and support these beautiful super givers in my community to be able to use their voice, make their stand, and live their life their way. If that sounds like something you'd like to know more about, keep listening and don't be shy to reach out and take advantage of my offers and invitations for one-to-one and group coaching, training and mentoring opportunities, where together we'll curiously explore what is most important for you to stand for, to compassionately encourage you to speak your truth and to courageously live your life aligned to your heart's desire, with confidence and without guilt. In this episode, let's chat about being too crazy busy to get your important things done. Tell me, when you meet up with someone and they say, "Hi, how you going? I haven't seen you for ages." Do you give the auto response answer, "Oh, I know, I've been so busy"? This has become a blanket term used all too frequently and usually thoughtlessly. And if you're a super giver, there's a tinge of guilt laid on for good measure, because clearly you should have made more effort to have kept in touch, shouldn't you? Oh, it's just too easy to smooth that guilt on, isn't it? But that is actually not the point of today's chat. It's more like the obligatory super giver side dish. Let me refocus and ask these questions. Do you agree to working extra because they're so short-staffed at work and they really need you to stay, over leaving on time to catch up with a friend for a coffee and a chat? Do you find that you're making yourself keep busy so you have a valid reason not to participate in certain activities or avoid situations that might be uncomfortable in some way? Do you go by the mantra, "If you want something done, ask a busy person," and then you're the one to say yes or to it all? Do you keep doing other work-like things as you're eating so you don't waste any time? Do you double book yourself or miss appointments because you're too busy to remember the specifics or notice the time passing? As a super giver, you are more prone to commit to externally motivated requests of your time, energy, and money. It's how you were brought up, to be a good girl and be helpful. It's what makes people like you, and that is what makes you feel worthwhile. And so you end up crazy busy. What does busy truly mean? According to the Cambridge Dictionary, busy is an adjective, which means it's a word that describes or modifies nouns. The definition is, if you're busy, you're working hard or giving your attention to a particular thing. If you're busy, you are not free or available to do something. A busy place is full of activity or people. But what does busy mean culturally? Busyness is directly connected to self-worth. If you are needed, in demand, and therefore important, your self-worth is elevated. You get caught up in a competition for who is the busiest and therefore most important. It's like there's a busy badge of honor out there for the taking, and it's celebrated in our fast-paced, productive culture. Having the longest list of all the things you must do gives you the illusion of your own importance. But on the flip side, and there is always a flip side, it also then gives you the longest list of things you just don't get to do because you're too busy. And it's no longer just about producing goods and things. Being too busy impacts the condition of your own well-being and the strength of your relationships at home, at work, and at play. I also believe for super givers, your ability to do what you say you're going to do, which is the very definition of your integrity, is also the paradox that both drives and devastates you the most. It is thrilling to do more and be recognized for that, and crippling to be the cause of letting anyone down because you took on too much. Busy, it's like it's taken on its own persona. You can almost hear little kids saying, I want to be busy when I grow up. And I don't know about you, but I find that to be crazy and scary. Here are 7 consequences for upholding the busy badge of honor. This is what it can look like to be too crazy busy and unhealthy. 1, you are always multitasking. There are just so many tasks you are trying to carry out. And if you're totally honest, there are many achieved poorly instead of one task being done well at a time. You fall into the trap of trying to single-handedly cover all the bases, which equates to poor delegation and boundary enforcement. It can also make your team or family question your faith in them. And this sets you up for visiting the codependent martyrs playground. And I'll talk more about that another time. Number 2, you regularly suffer from exhaustion and overwhelm. Sleep is usually the first thing to be compromised when you get busy. You see it as a waste of precious productive time. Instead of being a vital necessity to replenish, to allow your brain and body to restore and regenerate, enabling it to combat the various health issues like heart disease, cancer, and dementia. Being too busy can make it difficult for your brain to qualitatively shut down for any length of time because there are just so many open loops it needs to keep reminding you about. Number 3, you are habitually overcommitting. If you use a calendar or a diary, you are scheduling your events weeks or months in advance to try and fit them all in. And there is little or no white space available for impromptu or spontaneous activity. And heaven forbid if there's a crisis. If this happens, you have a house of cards that comes tumbling down, or you ignore it and soldier on until it's an emergency you just can't ignore any longer. Number 4, you are increasingly unfocused and distracted. You find it difficult to be still and unable to just be in the moment. You're constantly going for the phone or remote grab, catching up with the noisiest news or being seduced by the most effective social marketers who know how to play the algorithm game. You say yes to multiple events on the same day or night, and then scramble to get to them all quickly just for an hour or so. Not really interacting fully because you're focused on where to next. Number 5, you have become a workaholic. You don't take lunch breaks just to eat. There's always an errand to run. You aren't taking paid leave. And if you do, it's to get stuff done around the house or for attending to the needs of older or younger family members. You stay back late or bring work home that you didn't get done in your work hours and squeeze it in around what could be time spent in your relationships or replenishing yourself. There is a growing disparity in your work life and personal life as these two areas compete and you keep seesawing, trying to keep an elusive and unattainable balance. Number 6, You are continuously guilt tripping. You feel guilty for the choices you're being forced to make, letting family down, letting work down, letting friends down, let alone the times you're letting yourself down. Underpinning this is usually an unrealistic expectation imposed by people with mysterious or unconscious power over you. This is a values breach response. Guilt is telling you you haven't met the expectation of a value that is running the show, consciously or unconsciously. Number 7, you say yes on autopilot, often to avoid looking incompetent or letting other people down. You're usually reacting from old scripting learned when you were younger and never really challenged for validity as you aged. This is also a symptom for not using the pause between stimulus and response effectively to give yourself time to make informed decisions. This is the playground of Superwoman, doing it all, fueled by adrenaline and cortisol, because not doing it all is failure. Now that we've gone through those 7 consequences of being too busy, I wonder if you still hold being busy in such high esteem. Or can you now see it for the charlatan it really is? The notion put forward from the industrial ages when our time began to be equated with our worth, which then became entrenched in how we measure our own self-worth. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging and feeling bad about yourself. This is centuries-old conditioning we're moving through. But it's not impossible to make changes in the day-to-day experiences of your life, because now you are aware of the consequences of being crazy busy. And with that awareness, you can make changes. Here's an idea you can try to develop your conscious awareness to make more informed decisions based upon what is most important for you, not that old, outdated, patriarchal, industrialized productivity metric. Go over your list of to-dos and highlight the following. First of all, things only you can and have to do. This is what is actually listed on your job description, not the tack-ons that have been loaded up because you struggle with boundaries and saying no. It's actual family obligations, like you might be the only one who can breastfeed or pay a mortgage or drive the car, not the other stuff that you just do to keep the peace and not make waves at home. The second thing is highlight the things that you truly want to do. They may be exciting or give you a sense of fulfillment or offer you a challenge to use your expertise or learn new skills. Not the things that you think you have an obligation to do just because you can do it. And the third thing to highlight are the things other people ask you to do. This one is possibly more complex, so I want to add a caveat. Only highlight the things that have been asked by people who are important to you, whose respect has been earned, and or who are prepared to reciprocate fairly, either in kind or by some other means. Now, once you've done this activity, you start prioritizing the number 1 things first, and then the number 2 things, and then if there is time, get on to the number 3 things. What you will discover is that there is not enough time for you to complete all the things on your to-do list. So you do need to learn a few extra skills, like asking for help, setting realistic boundaries, or delegating them onto others. Or dropping things back into the laps of the people who offloaded them to you in the first place. I'm going to finish off by sharing a quote by Tim Kreider, who simply says, "Life is too short to be busy." And that hits home for me because I can't count the number of times people have shared a regret for the moments they missed out on when time has run out for someone important to them. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Chat About Being Too Crazy Busy to Get Your Important Things Done. I would love to challenge you to check yourself before you add more things or flippantly posturize about being crazy busy. If you'd like any help with prioritizing, getting clear on who and what is important for you, let me know. I have my Truly Deeply You program coming out soon. This is where we can get into all this great stuff. And if you get on my first in line list, you'll be the first to hear about it when it does. Because with all my heart, I want you to be able to use your voice, make your stand, and live your life your way with confidence and without guilt. So click the link in the notes to subscribe, and I will welcome you into my Super Giver community. Thanks for being here right to the very end of the episode. I hope there were just enough ahas or oh no's to be of value for you. I truly enjoyed chatting with you, and if you did too, can I ask that you share it with friends who would benefit or be interested as well? Also, for more brownie points, could I ask you to leave a comment, either reviewing it, asking for more info, or letting me know you've got other questions or topics you'd like me to cover off? Much love. Till next time.